Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works. Well, let me tell you something. I have my Magneto now. I've learned an awful lot by building this motor. If I were to do it again, I'd do it slightly differently, and it would be better. It's not bad the way it is. I could make it even better. Here's something fun. I found a guy that makes 3D printed magnetos. And when he made one in 1/12 scale, it crashed right here with the carburetor linkage. And so I had to remake them in 1/14 scale. So it's just a little bit lower in scale. But in determining how I was going to paint this thing, I went online and I learned an awful lot about these magnetos. They were originally developed during World War I in Switzerland for airplane engines. And this basic design hasn't changed since then. And the Swiss company had them, and then Ronco bought them out, and somebody else bought them out. Mallory makes a similar one, but it's not quite the same. But I found out which way the individual wires fire. There's a total of 8 holes. There's 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top, and they fire from the bottom right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they go up to the top, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I tell you what I'm going to do, boys and girls. I know the order this fires in here, and I used to remember the firing order of a small block Chevy. I don't anymore. However, that information's readily available. So when I finally put all these spark plug wires where they're supposed to be, just because I know there's people out there that are going to say something about it, I will have them in the correct firing order. It's not going to be haphazard. I'll have number 1 going to number 1 and number 2 going to number 7 or whatever it is. But we'll have the correct firing order. And I went online and I found photos of the Ronco magnetos, and I nailed the color for this Bakelite cover. Let's see. I have a bunch of stuff that I've had laying around for a long time. Detail parts. Look, a bag full of nothing. I guess it had it had the extra magneto in it. Let me tell you something. I found a 1/25th scale motor that was 3D printed. 1/25th scale is going to be real hard to get it to look good. 1/12 scale is, I think, the smallest I'd want to go. 1/12, 1/10, and 1/8. Those would be the scales to detail, because you can get in there. I mean, look, on 1/12 scale, you can actually, I don't know, can you see it here? You can actually get the data plate on the magneto. Can you see it? The data plate on the magneto. You can't do that at 1/25th scale. It's just too small. Anyway, I have the paint heating up right now. I turned the paint on at 6 o'clock. By noon, it should be ready to shoot. I'll shoot the final top coat here. I don't have a good way to hang it and paint it in the hanging, although I could put a rod through here and hang it off of there. I'll have to consider that, but I don't like it hanging this way because everything will run to a point here. I think I'm going to do it just the way I've done it before. I'll put it on this here block with some wax paper, and I'll shoot the top. Let it dry for a day or two. No more than 2. Probably 24 hours. It should be enough that I can turn it over and rest it on this block with some wax paper. That's the problem with this paint. Before it cooks off, it'll be dry to the touch, but if you set it on anything, it'll leave an imprint. And that's why I set it on wax paper and such, so that if it does leave an imprint, it doesn't leave much of one, and you can sand that out. So late this afternoon, it will get the last coat of yellow. And then somebody was asking, because I was talking about shooting clear on here, and he was saying, aren't you going to put some black trim? Here's the sequence. It's going to get several coats of clear, but it's going to get a coat of clear here on this deck right away, just so I can make up the difference between the elevation of this level and this level. Remember I talked about that, where the little man jumps off the cliff, because this paint is higher than that. So I'm going to paint just the wood portion and overlap a little bit onto the yellow that I can hit with some 2000 grit and kind of work down that edge at the same time. So this will get a couple of shots of clear on it. The transom, same thing for the transom. It'll get a shot of clear, and then it'll get the transom decal, and then another couple of shots of clear, while the yellow that I put on today is still cooking off. And so I'll be shooting some clear here, shooting some clear here, while this yellow is cooking off. I mean, you can handle it after a couple of days, it's fine, but you just don't want to spray clear on it. Trust me, you do not want to spray clear on a base that hasn't been firmly established as dry. Yeah, because it happened to Big B. He was almost done, and the last little thing, and it crazed, and it's like, oh, nuts. And you got to sand it back to the bare material and start all over again, and it's a pain in the arse. So back to what I'm going to do. It'll get clear here. All this will dry for a while. When the coat I put on today is dry, I'm going to do the black, and here's what it's going to do. It's going to start here as a stripe, and it's going to gradually get wider, and then the top part of the stripe's going to come down like that, and the bottom part of the stripe's going to come down like that, so it'll be fairly wide here. So it'll start out nothing, and then I'll put a piece of red tape, 1/8 of an inch, off the upper border, so it'll be yellow, black, red, black. And then on the bottom side, it won't have the red. It'll just be on the top side. And I won't transfer it to the bottom. The black's going to end right here at this line. And that will be the paint job. Just real simple. And it'll have a cool looking dummy engine. And quite frankly, at that point, I can run it. As long as I have a rear hatch, I can run it with this hatch open. That's not a problem. So there you go, boys and girls. Until next time, jet out.